8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And here is Daniel Smith.
Well, Jet fans, welcome back for the final Jets Guru post-game report of the season. Whew! What a season, man, and I am so glad that it's over. The best part of my Sundays is coming here with you guys and getting the chance to do Jets Guru. That is honestly the best part of my Sundays this year, and over the last 2 years, to be honest with you, being able to talk with Jet fans week in and week out through the posts that we make, through the videos and the audio cast that we do. We're very blessed to have the amount of subscribers we have that come on each and every week. And you guys are what makes doing this show really the best thing, not even the Jets, because the Jets have not given us much except for frustration and infighting amongst fans because of who we want for quarterback and coach and etc. But man, you guys coming in, you guys make the football season really special for me. So thank you guys for tuning in again. The Jets play the Patriots on a 2-game winning streak. That ends. And listen, you know, it's tough. The Jets got outgunned here. Linebackers in coverage just couldn't keep up with the Patriots running backs. I mean, James White and Michelle out of the backfield. I mean, it just looks so easy too, right? I mean, you ask yourself, how come the Jets can't do what Cam Newton just did? Just throw a nice little pretty screen to the outside and just let the backs do the rest. You look at guys like Ty Johnson, more than capable. I can't wait to get Adam Gase out of the doors. I mean, I'm looking right now. I mean, I'm scanning. I know usually Monday you hear it. I'm hoping that the Jets say it right now at the end of the game. I mean, Adam Gase, listen, we all know that Joe Flacco, we know that he played well in Gase's system this year, throwing the ball to some of the guys that we had. Still didn't really get any victories, but because the team is really that bad. But he looked pretty good in it. But, I mean, if that is the best that you could say of a head coach, and that is not even the reason why he was brought here, then, I mean, come on. Adam Gase wasn't good at time management. Adam Gase wasn't good at distribution as far as reps are concerned. I mean, you had some young players on this team that I still think didn't get a really good fair shake, a good look. And I know if you go to the numbers, it'll say how many players the Jets actually use this year. But I'm just talking about the ratio of reps given out to certain players. You never really got a fair shake at Herndon until the very end. To me, you didn't get enough out of Ty Johnson and Josh Adams, 2 guys who gave you the best running performance of the year for your football team, and you couldn't even give them, another game after that to really cement themselves. It's just really sad. You look at guys like Denzel Mims down the stretch, didn't get as much work as I thought that he would. And, we need a head coach that's going to be a head coach, not a quarterback guru. Not someone that's going to come here and fix Sam Darnold or make Trevor Lawrence the next whatever big shot quarterback, or Fields or Wilson. We don't need guys like that. We need a football coach, okay? We need someone to design an offense around whoever the quarterback is, whoever it is. That needs to be the central part, because I'm scanning over the league and I'm looking at quarterbacks that have recent success. I'm looking at Mahomes. I'm looking at guys like Kyler Murray. I'm looking at guys like Josh Allen. I'm looking at guys like Lamar Jackson. And it's specifically, we'll talk about Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson because they come from the same class as Darnold. But you even look at Baker Mayfield and what they're doing now in Cleveland. They're all designing the offenses around the quarterback and what they can do and what they can't do. And I think that's important. And what you saw in Sam Darnold in his tenure with Adam Gase is you saw a quarterback regress. And now, don't get me wrong, Sam Darnold is responsible here too. It's not just Adam Gase. It's also Sam Darnold, because there's things that you have to do as a professional, as a ball player, to get yourself better. And we just didn't see it translate onto the field this year. And there were opportunities for that to be had. We saw too many mistakes, and we saw 2 of them today. And it's starting to become a thing for me, because can you teach a quarterback to focus and move from target to target, scanning the field and making the best decision? Even when Sam Darnold has time, he scares me as a quarterback, because he locks onto a receiver and he carries that receiver into the second level of coverage, and he doesn't look off the safety. He doesn't look off the backer, and he throws the football. And we saw it, and he was bailed out earlier in this game when Crowder came over, and he basically took an interception away from the Patriots defender on the sideline. And there was countless times. Sam Darnold should have more interceptions than he has right now, because he's been bailed out a few times. And the 2 times in this game, he just didn't see the corner or safety sitting in the field. Like, didn't see him at all. Like, completely locked onto a receiver. Now, if this is year 1, I'm okay with that. I'm not okay with it, but I'll accept it, right? Year 2, you're like, okay, he's growing in the offense. Year 3, and this is my personal opinion, I felt the same way with Mark Sanchez when he was here. Year 3 is supposed to be the year you start to put those silly mistakes away. You don't have to light the world up. If that's not you, that's not you. Like, when we looked at Chad Pennington, right? What were the things that we liked about Chad? He didn't create a lot of turnovers. He was accurate with the football, and he was a leader of men. And that you combine all those things together, you have a solid quarterback, and he was able to have success. Now, was Chad Pennington ever considered one of the best quarterbacks in the league? No, he was not. He was a good quarterback, a good career, deserves to be remembered, obviously deserves to be remembered by Jet fans, but he wasn't a great quarterback. But what did he do? He did everything he possibly could with his skill set to win games for his football team, and he was able to do that. Timely throws, accurate, keep turnovers down, and you're going to buy yourself more opportunities in the NFL. You're just going to. And that's why you're going to see guys like Teddy Bridgewater and company be able to stay in this league. Everyone goes, what is the quarterback? The one who keeps bouncing around. I think it's not, I wanted to say Tavares Jackson. It's not Tavares Jackson. I can't get his name. I can't get it into my head. The reason why he keeps getting opportunities to start and be placeholders for young quarterbacks is because he limits his mistakes. He keeps his mistakes low. You can trust that he's going to be able to run your offense, keep the game close so your defense can kind of shut it down, right? But Sam doesn't do that. He's not a game manager. I keep trying to tell people that he's not Ryan Tannehill. Even though his stats may indicate it, where he doesn't throw for a lot of yards, he doesn't throw for a lot of touchdowns, he is not capable of just playing clean football. You're telling me a 2-game stretch is enough to give this kid $25 million where he threw for 3 touchdowns and no interceptions and 350 yards in 2 games? That's not enough. It's just not. You know, you look at the best quarterbacks around the league and they throw themselves back into games. And that's what a franchise quarterback does. The Jets, for the Jets to have success with Sam Darnold, they need a lockdown running game. They need tight ends and receivers. They need a really good defense to keep the score low and to get the quarterback opportunity after opportunity, because you're going to have stalled drives when you can't push the ball down on the edges. Now, Kevin spoke about on Jets Guru on the audio show, the pregame show, he spoke about the amount of completions that Sam Darnold has over the middle. And you think teams don't realize that? They're shutting down. They're saying, okay, you could take the little slants to Crowder and the little seams to Griffin and Herndon and what have you, but we're going to limit you going over the top and destroying us and beating us. And the lack of attempts over the last couple of years, it doesn't get you practice in game to lock in to throw the ball down the field. And so you have a quarterback that does not know how to throw an accurate deep ball, that focuses on one wide receiver because he's used to the quick one-read throw passes, and you have regression in body mechanics. And now the one thing that you thought you had out of Sam Darnold, which is when he got out of the pocket on the edges, he's making a ton of mistakes out there. He's pressing the ball too much, and he's not using his athletic ability. And people want to give this kid $25 million because the Jets have to decide by May 3rd this year if they want to give Sam Darnold $25 million in his 5th year, including passing on quarterback after quarterback after quarterback after quarterback, passing on him to keep Sam Darnold, not resetting the money clock. So you're going to have to pay him $25 million on a rebuilding team where you still need a starting corner, when you still need 2 linebackers, when you still need an edge rusher, when you still need a safety, because you got to re-sign May, you still need a running back, you still need a starting receiver, you still possibly need a guard. Well, you definitely need a guard. You might need 2 guards. You might need a center, because I don't know if McGovern could do it, but I don't know about his contract, so you might have to slide him to guard if you have a better opportunity to get a center. If not, he's your center next year. So you need 2 guards. There's a lot of holes on this football team. And people think that somehow through this draft, the Jets are going to be good next year. Maybe they will be. It happens all the time. There's a new playoff team or 2 that comes into the fold, right? But if I was a betting man, I wouldn't bet on that. Would you? Because I will take that bet all day, every day. So at best, we talked about the Jets offensive roster. How many new players are you going to have on the Jets roster next year on offense? You maybe have a replacement for Perryman if you don't bring him back. Crowder comes back. Mims comes back. Herndon most likely comes back. You get maybe a guard and a center. Maybe a tackle, but, on the right side. But I like Fant. Fant's fine. There's no reason to press getting Sewell. I'm just saying, if you need other options, I know Sewell's a great talent, but Fant is not bad on the right side, and you already have Becton on the left side. I'd like Becton and Sewell, but if you could get a quarterback, a guy that could change your team, I think that's a little bit important right now, considering you already have the left tackle already, okay? I'm not saying it's not a good pick. I'm just saying you already have a left tackle, right? So the way I'm looking at it is you might have 4 pieces on the offense that might be new. Is that going to turn Sam Darnold into a top 15, top 10 quarterback? I don't think so. So then you're looking at Sam Darnold with the pressure on his shoulders, okay, to go out there, all right, and have to somehow will this team to some kind of victories, because I don't see it happening. I see the Jets still struggling next year in a rebuild. 6 wins, 5 wins, 4 wins, maybe less, who knows? So then you're going to be paying Sam Darnold in his 5th year $25 million, and he still is not taking you to the playoffs. And then you look at the fact that he has what? They just said in the cast, 9 touchdowns, 21 interceptions against your division. Your division's not getting weaker, it's getting stronger. The Dolphins are getting stronger, the Bills are strong now, and the Patriots are going to be running into some money and an opportunity to draft a quarterback as well. So if you can't compete against your own division on a rebuilding team, where do you expect this to be? So wouldn't you rather start over now, get a new guy, get a coach to pair with this guy, and build and reset the money clock and the organizational clock? We spoke about another thing on Jets Guru Audio Podcast, if you weren't able to check it out. Joe Douglas is going to be going into his 3rd year. If he rolls with Sam Darnold on his 4th year, you signed up for his 5th year, basically. So you're going to have to roll with him in his 5th year. So what if Sam doesn't pan out? Then you have 1 year and you draft a quarterback that eventually might be good, but you may not even stick around to see him. How does that work out for Joe Douglas? You got so many people saying, well, the Jets need to do that. The Jets need to do this for Sam Darnold. They need to do this for Sam Darnold. They need to do this for Sam Darnold. What about the rest of the guys on the football team? You got a GM, you got a new head coach, you got other players that need to be evaluated. You got to do it for the whole football team, not just Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold had a few years to get it together, to show something. And yes, I'm going to keep bringing up quarterback examples of people who have done it with less weapons, with injured weapons, with coaches being fired, and still going out there. Listen, you don't have to be Mahomes, but it's a passing NFL. There's yards to be had out there. And the most I see it as Sam Darnold is a game manager. He's not a guy where you all of a sudden you start losing, he could throw you back into the game. Now, with this Patriots game, what are you going to do? He fell back into the pumpkin roll. That throw right there that you see to Herndon, that was the highlight of the day. And if you look at that throw, Herndon's open over the middle. It's not really contested. It's contested at the top of the football, but it's not contested. That was an easy throw for Sam. Good throw, but it was an easy throw. The harder throws were the ones where he had to try to squeeze it in, where Perryman was, and he wound up throwing an interception, and there's like 5 Patriots defenders around. But right there, right at the point, and that is harder for Herndon than that is for Darnold. Good pocket, by the way, to step up and throw. But the 2 turnovers by Darnold, the second one was awful, okay? That was really bad. The other one, the ball kind of sailed on him. He still threw it. It's still a bad throw, but it sailed on him. But still, man, that's a risky throw. And he can't make it. The zip on the ball, it's just, I mean, I need more. I need more right now. There's too many positives going into let's restart from the very beginning. There's two positives, too many positives, and to go against Sam Darnold. And there's no information. I have so much information to show you, hey, Sam Darnold doesn't look great, okay? And then there's like a couple of throws here and there. There's a game here and there scattered throughout 3 years. I just don't want to hear it anymore. So, hey, listen, I'm not the GM of the team, right? So they're going to make a decision. But to me, Sam Darnold's biggest value is right now, where you could trade him and let another team decide on whether they're going to pick up his 5th-year option. You can then slide that $25 million in that 5th year to other places throughout the roster. You have a chance to reset your team and start from the ground up. Pick your quarterback, pick your coach, and cement your place as a GM in the NFL. And I expect Joe Douglas to do so because everything that he's done up until this point has showed me that he's not going to pay $25 million for this production. They say the potential, right? Well, it is Sam Darnold's potential down the line that you're betting on. Well, I've had 3 years to see it, and I haven't seen it. Like that throw right there to Perryman. You don't make that throw. You just don't. Okay? You don't make that throw. There's nothing but New England Patriots around, and the ball sailed. Well, of course it sailed. You have to go over 3 tiers of defenders. Nick, look at this play again. And look at this throw. You don't make that throw. That could have been picked off by the cornerback streaking underneath. It was picked off eventually by Jackson at the top. There's multiple ways to pick off that ball. And then the one on the sideline that I was telling you that Crowder came over and grabbed, my man was like this. His eyes were this big. He thought he had the pick. Crowder heads up play, rushes over and gets the pick. But the second pick that Sam Darnold officially threw, that was the worst one. You bring your team down the field to try to get back into the game, and you throw a pick. And then the first one cost you points, which gave the Patriots the lead and started their run. That's the 3rd game. Like, that's an awful throw. If you're going to throw that ball, you have to throw it high and in the corner. So the only person that has a chance to get that ball is the back receiver. He underthrew the ball into 2 defenders and tried to split them over top. It didn't work. So I don't listen. People that love Sam Darnold, you got to show me more, man. Because I rooted for Sam. I really did. But he's not changing the same mistakes I saw from college. One read, throw the ball, not looking off anybody. I mean, I saw a play Matt Stafford made a couple weeks ago where he looked straight ahead at the safety, moved them slightly to the right, and then threw the ball to the left. Little nuances in the game. And that comes down to coaching. And I can't wait to get Adam Gase out. Get him out as fast as possible. Worst coach in my tenure as a New York Jets fan, because even though I was alive for Kotite, I was really young and I didn't understand the nuances of the game. But I do now. And Adam Gase is an awful leader of men. He's an awful head coach. And listen, I'm not in the locker room. Who am I to say, right? I'm just talking about on the field, what we see with our eyes, the product in which he practices and preaches and installs. And then we see the results of that install each and every Sunday. And what I see, a coach is locked into his little play card, does no feel for the game whatsoever. I mean, when we're sitting up here as fans calling the plays, wondering what the hell is going on. But this is the state of the Jets. But the bright side of all of this is that, guess what? We do have $80 million coming to us. We do have the second pick in the draft. We do have 9 picks, okay, in this draft. We have 2 first-rounders next year, okay? And I do trust Joe Douglas and his ability to be able to draft well, at least going off of the first draft, right? That's what I could say, because there's not a lot of history with Joe Douglas yet. But I like what he did in his first draft. I'm hoping he does the same in the second. He's got the picks. He's got the money. He's got a rotating roster. You could preach this to a head coach. You could preach this to a guy coming in saying, hey, especially if you're not sold on Darnold. If you're sold on Darnold, your head coaching opportunities are going to dwindle down to a few people who think they can fix Sam Darnold. But that's not what I want. I want the best head coach that could come in the building. That's what I want. I want the best opportunity in the building. That's what I want. I don't want a guy who's going to come and fix Sam Darnold. We already had that. We already had a guy who was supposed to take Sam Darnold to the next level. He failed. Okay? I don't want another guy that's going to come in and tell me the same thing. I want a guy who he walks in the building and he says, you know what? We together are going to draft a quarterback that's going to fit your offense. We have a turnover of roster. We have funds. We could build this thing from the ground up, baby. That's what I want. Because if you sign on to Sam Darnold and he fails, guess what's going to happen? The Jets team is going to get a little bit better before the quarterback does. And then what you're going to have is the Jets, again, trying to draft their franchise quarterback. So what do they do in the meantime? They get a veteran to come in here and there, patchwork, and then you play yourself. You play yourself out of a position to get a quarterback. Well, you're in a position to get one. You got a guy like Justin Fields who tore it up against Clemson. You'll have a guy like Zach Wilson, and who knows? Maybe Justin Fields plays good enough, and depending on the Jaguars coaching situation, maybe Fields bumps up ahead of Lawrence. People say, no, this can't happen. I've seen worse. I've seen different. The world is a wonderful thing. It's a crazy thing. Things happen. And what if Lawrence falls to you at 2? What if Fields is there at 2? Maybe your new head coach who's going to fix his team likes Justin Fields. So are you going to ride with Sam Darnold to the end and not trust Joe Douglas and not trust the new head coach that's coming in? If they determine that Sam Darnold is not good enough, are you going to whine and complain about that after what you've seen? Remember, this isn't Tom Brady going to Tampa Bay and people crying that Brady left. This is a guy that hasn't led us to the playoffs. Baker Mayfield's going to the playoffs. Ravens are going to the playoffs. Bills are going to the playoffs. These are all quarterbacks that are looking better than Sam Darnold. And yes, the Jets have something to do with that, but I think the quarterback does too. Sometimes the guy just ain't the guy. And maybe he'll be the guy somewhere else for another team. You know, maybe a team like the Bears fit Sam Darnold better. Maybe a team like the Colts fit a guy like Sam Darnold better. But I think it would just be easier and better for them to move on. I think the coaching opportunities, you'll have a lot more coaches invested in the New York Jets job if they know for a fact that the quarterback position is open and they can bring in their own guy. Because remember, if you bring in a guy, he's basically playing with Mac's quarterback. Joe Douglas is building around Mac's quarterback. And so you're not – whose team are you really coaching at that point? Again, if this was Aaron Rodgers in the carryover, you hold on to him, like that type of thing. But that's not the type of talent that we're talking about here. We're talking about a guy who hasn't done very much and probably needs a new restart, right? So I think at the end of the day, looking at this, and we're going to go over this over and over and over until it happens, right? At least until May, because we'll have a better idea. We got to trust Joe Douglas, and we got to hope. We have to pray. This is the only way any of this gets fixed. You have to pray that the Johnsons allow Joe Douglas to pick their head coach. That's the word out there, right? And all the reports that he's going to get to pick his head coach. Let's hope it's true, because we have to stop this organizational tier where people are working on different timelines. Let Joe pick his head coach. You are now attached to that head coach. Go draft your quarterback. You are now tied coach, quarterback, and GM at the hip. Your success and your future tenure with the Jets all depends on the quarterback succeeding, the team succeeding, and you guys are all tied together. If it fails, you all get wiped out, clean swipe, new GM, new coach, new system the next time. Because all this staggering, it just doesn't work. And the way that the coach can go to the owner and jump over the GM and all this kind of stuff. That has to stop too. All questions go to Joe Douglas. Joe Douglas goes to the owner. It's that simple, right? He is the GM of the team. He builds the team. He works with the coach, and the GM is supposed to pick players, unlike what Mac did, because Mac didn't listen. Mac and Gase, that wasn't going to work. But you need to have a GM who picks players based on the system of the head coach. So not that you like, Joe Douglas may like a lot of things, but when he's picking these players, if that's his head coach, he needs to pick players that go around the system of the head coach so you can get the most out of those players. Just like the Jets should have had an offensive guy come in who fits Sam Darnold. Maybe add more run-pass options. Maybe design more bootlegs and plays on the outside. That's what should have been done with Sam Darnold, not put him and drop him back like he's some 6'6" quarterback that can launch the ball down the field. We saw it worked with Flacco. We saw that system worked with him. That didn't work with Sam Darnold. That was the main reason why Gase was brought here, and he failed. So he deserves to be fired. And it hasn't worked with Sam Darnold. He is now regressing, and he needs to go as well. And that's just my personal opinion. And it all started with this. It all started with the bulging eyes and the laughs and the memes. And we tried to push it away, right? We tried to say, oh, come on, man. It's just his first press conference. No big deal. But we fell for it. We fell for it. A guy in Miami who had a problem with star players, a guy in Miami who had a playoff team and slowly dwindled into one of the worst teams in the league. And we thought that without any time to sit by himself and to go over what he's done and make himself better, we hired him immediately and expected things to be different. And they weren't. And we failed. And we failed. It's just the fact of the matter. We failed again. And so now the Jets come up on another point in their chapter here to change things, right? To do things right. Everything is staring at you in the face. Second overall pick in the draft. You also have another first-round pick later in the draft. You have multiple picks after that. You have 2 first-rounders the following year. You have an opportunity to hire a new head coach, $80 million in cap space, rotating roster. Everything is staring you in the face. Rebuild. Start over. Brand new. And we'll have to see what they do moving on. So what we'll do is Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time, or Wednesday, depending on what our producer could come up with. We'll figure it out. We'll let you know. And we'll start breaking down this team. I'm not going to start with quarterback because there's a lot that has to happen. So we'll save that a little bit further for the end. So we'll start with running back. And we'll move in. We'll talk about how the running backs did for the Jets on their roster last year. We'll talk about who's a free agent that the Jets could possibly sign. Because as you know, the Jets are probably going to need a veteran back. They're going to need one more back. I don't know if the backs that they have could be starters week in and week out. And I don't think that the Jets did a good enough job at trying to showcase and find that out. And then we'll look at the draft and we'll look at where the Jets pick in the first, second, third, moving on, and where a running back might fit in there. So we'll start breaking this team down. So the best thing that you could do, guys, if you want to help, is share this. Go on to YouTube, subscribe, Jets Guru on YouTube. Go and on your Facebook, share this. We don't talk politics. We don't, curse and do all that. Share it on your page. Help us out. We don't have any donation boxes. This is the best way you can help us. Let's spread the word of Jets Guru. So the more people that sign on, more people that watch, more people that share, it's going to help us grow. It's going to help us be able to get player interviews because you need those numbers to be able to get the attention of people, to be legitimate, to be able to get them to come in and join your show. So the more that you guys sign on, the more you watch, the more you comment, the more you share, the better that this show is going to do. And I just want to give it up to everybody before I let them go for just a phenomenal year of growth. I mean, this show has really grown. This show has grown more this year in the Jets season that's been so awful than it has in the previous 2 years. So I want to thank Krista. I want to thank Ramon. And I also want to thank JR, the late member to the team here, who's changed the look of Jets Guru and given us a professional touch. I really appreciate that. You guys are amazing people. You do all of this for free. This takes up our time. We don't get paid for this. And so, I thank all of you for all your help. And we're going to keep building it. We're going to keep growing it. Thank you for your help. Thank you for all the fans out there that are watching. Have a great Sunday. The season is over. We are now officially in the off season for the Jets, and we could start fixing this mess that we have on our hands, hopefully. and we got to trust in Joe Douglas, and we got to trust in the process. So thank you guys so much. Have a good Sunday. JETS, 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 Jets.
All I hear, go get the money. So I go get it. Hate means I do something right. So I'ma let him. Yeah, I'ma let him. Yeah, I'ma let him. I hit the nail on the head.